AI was supposed to buy you back time. Instead, it multiplied your workload. You crank out more drafts, then you spend longer cleaning them up. Every message creates 3 follow-ups. Every edit triggers a compliance panic. You start chasing status updates just to prove you did the work. And the admin spreads quietly because nobody wants to be the person who approved the risky output. The contradiction is brutal. More automation, more paperwork. That is not a tool problem. Moving to slide 2. Admin does not come from typing, it comes from uncertainty. Who owns the final answer? What content is actually allowed? Which sources count? When something looks wrong, where do you escalate it? After it ships, what is your audit trail?
If those are unclear, the safest move is endless review, endless approvals, endless documentation.
Your team is not slow. Your team is protecting itself. Moving to slide 3. Guardrails are not a PDF policy. They are a workflow you can run. You want rules, not vibes. That means you constrain inputs, so people cannot paste sensitive data into a random prompt. You validate outputs, so a draft cannot be sent until the required checks happen. You record decisions, so approvals are provable instead of living in a chat thread.
And you route exceptions, so edge cases go to the right owner fast, not to everyone. When guardrails live inside the steps, people stop arguing about judgment calls and start moving work through with confidence.
Moving to slide 4. The fastest way to make this real is to add one more step before the model. A request wrapper. Instead of free-form prompting, you give people a short form that forces minimum context. What is the goal? Who is the audience? What is the source of truth? What data is included and what data is prohibited? What risk level is this? And who owns approval? Then you auto-apply the policy. If the request includes restricted data, the wrapper blocks it or strips it. If it is a regulated topic, it requires a citation field or a human review flag. If it is customer-facing, it enforces tone, disclaimers, and no hallucinated claims. Now standardize the output. Same headings, same decision fields, same citations section, same next step. That makes review faster because reviewers know exactly where to look. Finally, route with confidence. Low risk goes straight through. Medium risk goes to a named approver. High risk goes to a specialist. One extra step up front removes 10 steps of cleanup later. Moving to slide 5. Once the workflow exists, name the work types you are running through it. Drafting and rewriting. Summaries and minutes. Customer and vendor replies. Reports and dashboards. Decisions and approvals. Each type gets its own wrapper fields, its own required sources, and its own routing. You stop treating AI like a single magic button and start treating it like a set of reliable production lines. After that, the only question that matters is which queue a request belongs in. Moving to slide 6. Before you use AI for anything real, ask one triage question. What kind of output is this and what happens if it is wrong? Start with internal versus external. If it stays inside your team, the blast radius is smaller. If it goes to customers, regulators, or the public, treat it like published work. Then check for sensitive data. If your prompt or the draft includes PII, credentials, source code, or client specifics, you need stricter handling and often a different tool or environment. Next is the model making a decision or just organizing information. Drafting a summary is different from approving a refund, denying a claim, or recommending a dosage. Then ask if it is regulated or contractual. Legal, finance, HR, healthcare, and anything tied to SLAs or compliance gets higher scrutiny. Finally, reversibility. If you can undo it quickly, you can move faster. If it is irreversible, like sending an email blast or shipping a policy, slow down. This one checklist turns AI from a gamble into a repeatable system. Moving to slide 7. Rework usually comes from vague prompts and inconsistent expectations. Templates fix that. Create a pre-built prompt structure for the common jobs you do, like customer replies, release notes, or meeting summaries. Make required fields non-optional, such as audience, goal, key facts, allowed sources, and what not to include. Lock tone and style, so you are not debating voice every time. Then lock the output format. If you always need a subject line, 3 bullets, and a next step, bake it in. The model stops guessing, and you stop rewriting. When templates are shared, everyone learns the same muscle memory. The back and forth drops because the first draft already fits the lane, and now the real leverage comes from controlling what the model is allowed to pull from. Moving to slide 8. If you let people paste random web content into prompts, you are building on sand. Control the source. Define approved knowledge sources. That might be your help center, internal wiki, product specs, policy docs, and a curated set of external references. Label each source with freshness and ownership, so you know who maintains it and when it was last reviewed. Set a rule that key claims need citations back to an approved source. Not for every sentence, just the parts that would hurt you if wrong, like pricing, legal language, and technical limits. Keep a single source of truth. If the wiki says one thing and a slide deck says another, the model will happily blend them. Your job is to make the truth easy to fetch. Once your inputs are disciplined, you can automate most of the checking instead of relying on tired humans to catch everything. Moving to slide 9. Human review is slow, inconsistent, and expensive. Auto checks catch the obvious problems every time, before anything reaches a person. Start with PII and secrets detection. Scan prompts and outputs for emails, phone numbers, addresses, API keys, tokens, and credential patterns. If found, block, redact, or route to a secure workflow. Add policy keyword red flags. Watch for restricted topics, prohibited claims, regulated language, and competitor or customer names that should trigger extra care. Run missing fields detection against your templates. If the draft lacks required sections, like risk disclaimers, pricing terms, or escalation steps, fail fast and ask for the missing inputs. Layer tone and brand checks. Enforce reading level, banned phrases, and required empathy or neutrality depending on the channel. Finally, validate links and numbers. Check that URLs resolve, dates are valid, totals add up, and cited figures match the source. When these checks run automatically, reviewers stop doing janitorial work and only touch the few outputs that actually deserve judgment, which is exactly how risk-based approvals should work. Moving to slide 10. Approval gates should match risk, not hierarchy. Low-risk work ships fast. Think internal brainstorming, harmless summaries, or drafts that never leave your org. Let those pass with automated checks and logging. Medium risk needs an owner. That is the person accountable for the content, like a product manager for release notes or a support lead for customer macros. They approve for accuracy and fit. High risk needs a specialist. Legal, security, privacy, medical, finance, or compliance gets the final say when the output is public, regulated, or irreversible. Make the SLA per gate explicit so people know if approval is minutes, hours, or days. Keep approvals one click, with a template, sources, and check results attached. When gates are clear and proportional, you move quickly, without pretending everything is safe, and you get an audit trail without scheduling a single meeting. Moving to slide 11. If you want auditability without meetings, you need a wrapper that captures the work as it happens. Start by logging inputs and outputs. That means the exact prompt or request, the data sources that were allowed, and the final response that went out. Then store citations used in a structured way, not as a pasted paragraph. Save the source title, link, version date, and a short quote or snippet that justified the claim. Next, record approver and time. If a human signs off, capture who, when, and what changed between draft and approval. Track edits and reasons with a simple drop-down, like policy risk, tone, missing evidence, client preference, plus a free text field for the one-sentence rationale. That turns subjective feedback into searchable patterns. Finally, make the whole thing a searchable decision trail. You should be able to type a customer name, a policy tag, or a claim, and instantly see the chain of requests, evidence, edits, approvals, and the final send. When that trail is automatic, who decided this becomes a lookup, not a meeting. And when something goes sideways, you can handle exceptions cleanly instead of arguing from memory. Moving to slide 12. Exceptions are inevitable, so design them like a product. Give reviewers one button to escalate, with the draft, sources, and risk flags attached. If the request is missing context, the system should ask targeted questions, not bounce the whole task back. Block forbidden requests by default, but offer safe alternatives, like a compliant rewrite or a generic template. Then log repeats, so the same exception teaches your workflow, not your patience. Clean exceptions keep your metrics honest. Moving to slide 13. To prove a 30% improvement, measure the boring stuff. Baseline admin time before you change anything. Track rework loops, like how many times a draft returns the edits. Measure approval latency from first draft to final sign-off. Count exception rates by category, so you know whether quality is improving or just being deferred. Publish weekly wins in one chart and one sentence, so progress is visible and defensible when it matters. Moving to slide 14. Your next step is to pick one high-volume task you already do every week, like customer email replies or policy summaries. Write the wrapper fields you will capture every time: request type, allowed sources, risk tag, approver. Set risk-based routing so low risk goes straight through and high risk pauses for review. Add 2 automated checks, like citation presence and banned phrase detection. Then lock one template so the output stays consistent. If you want more scripts like this, subscribe. Tell me in the comments which task you are wrapping first. Automation scales work. Understanding scales decisions.